Hi everyone, my name is Neha Lohia, and I am hosting this beautiful interview series for the Queen's World Film Festival. The block is called Survival, and it is going to show at this 13th annual Queen's World Film Festival on the 25th of April, Thursday at 7 o'clock at Kaufman Astoria Studios in Queens, New York. We have the pleasure of spending some of our time today with Kimberly DiPersia, who is one of the filmmakers and has an amazing film. So, welcome, Kimberly.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
Yeah, Kimberly, can you share a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, where you're from, what's your background? We'd love to know.
certainly. So my background is I started out as an actor first. I went to NYU Tisch and studied acting. And then, as I progressed outside of college, I started producing my own work and really loving that and just producing projects and doing independent films and writing. And so I've taken on a lot of different hats since. So now I consider myself like I pretty much do a lot. So I still act, but I also direct, I write, I produce, I edit. I just wear a lot of different hats in filmmaking now. And so I was born in Jersey. I grew up in Florida, in the Orlando area, and then I went up to, New York for college. And I stayed up for about 2 decades, and then I recently moved back a few years ago. So now I'm based in Orlando, Florida right now. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's like all over, but then, the heart stays in the art. So,
Exactly, exactly.
whether as an actor, whether as a director, as a producer, I think it's
Mhm,
always some form of expression that is coming forth. So
mhm,
Kimberly, tell us a little bit about, what is Hospital all about, and tell us about your film. Like, we'd like to know what your film is about, and
mhm.
yeah.
Sure. So, Hospital is based on a true story. So the premise is, the premise is Amanda's father's in the hospital with COVID-19, but because of regulations, she and her family can only watch from afar. And this is very much based on what my family went through. So top of January 2021, my father was hospitalized with COVID-19 here in Orlando, Florida. He survived, he made it through, but he was on a ventilator for 42 days and was in a medically induced coma for 6 weeks. So it was a very difficult time. And one of the hardest things about it was we weren't able to go see him because they had like the COVID wing was, quarantined. Like you couldn't go, even though, you say like, I'll wear a hazmat suit, I'll do anything. But no, we weren't able to. So especially in that early time when things were most crucial and we didn't know how things were going to go, we really had to we were very separate from him. We didn't get to see him. We had calls with the doctor every day where they would update us on, how he was doing, his condition. The nurse would do a FaceTime call where she would call us, and then we put the phone up to my father, and he would be she'd put the phone up to my father, he'd be in a coma. And so my brothers and I would talk to him. It was helpful a little bit. It wasn't the same as being in person, but that was like something that they were able to do. I found his hospital window, and would stand outside. So all these things that we went through as a family, I really wanted to communicate this story because I just feel like so many people had this experience during COVID. You hear so much about the big stuff, the headlines, all of that, but the day-to-day personal stories of what people went through, I just really wanted to share that experience. So, yeah.
Wow, that must have been heavy, to say the least. Have that ordeal for 42 days when he was on a ventilator and then being in coma, and then that uncertainty of not knowing when he'll fully be back in his body and energy, and as children not even being able to see him, like see him but
Mhm.
not see him. And yeah, uh it must have been heavy. How was it recreating all of that for you for cinematic purpose?
It was a powerful experience. For a lot of it, you have the director hat on, the director producer hat. So you're like, managing everything. But when it came to directing the actors in the moments, and I really just kind of let the scenes breathe, and there was just a lot of improvisation where I was like, this is the scenario, this is what you're going through. I really trusted the actors to just be present and take in the moments. And sometimes there were things where I was like, literally things that I had gone through. So it was very powerful to film, especially when I think when I was editing it was when it all kind of really hit me of like what it all together, like seeing the pieces with that. So but it was also amazing because there were some cast members who had experienced similar things. Like there was one cast member who's like, she's like, yes, I had a friend whose family, they were doing the same thing, like standing outside the window. Some of the people that played the nurses in the film actually worked in hospitals during COVID. So they had personal experiences and brought their sensitivities and everything to the role. So not only did it become like my story and my family story, but it also became a collective story of everyone like making the film, just bringing elements and moments that I hadn't thought about. For instance, one of the actresses, she plays this nurse, and there's this moment, this scene outside, and she was like, because she went through all this, the working in hospitals, and she said, I feel like my character is, I'm just taking a step outside to breathe, to just take a moment to like shake it off. And I was like, yes, do that. And she did that. And that was an element that, she had personally experienced, bringing that into the film that I didn't know from that perspective, because I was coming from a family member perspective, but to get a nurse's perspective was, that just made it so much more full. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, I want to ask you a personal question. Do you think, whatever as creators, like I make films as well, and
Mm.
whatever we create somewhere ends up healing us. Do you feel that making this film was in some way healing for your own self and for your family?
Yes, I definitely think so. I am working on a longer like documentary where I have interviews with each of my family members as to like what we experienced. And that's been kind of a slow project because I think for me, taking the distance to be like, how to be objective from something when I'm shaping a narrative of what is the story, what do I want to tell. But I feel like for me, yeah, especially with this film, it was my like I had been wondering kind of what to do for the next project, and I literally woke up one morning and I just like wrote it all out, and I got it all out of my system, and it just felt like for me, yeah, being able to express that. um Definitely, I really do believe that art and expression and creativity can heal. I've seen it through myself, through other people. And I think it can be a powerful tool for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit now. Has this film traveled anywhere, or this is its first New York premiere? Like, what's the thing? Yeah.
Yeah, so this was originally made for the Orlando Independent Filmmakers Challenge. So there's this great organization, they're called the OIF Studio, and they have ongoing film challenges here in Orlando, short films. It's about 2 to 3 times a year, and they release different genres, and you have to make a film that's under 9 minutes. And so this round was, there were 3 different genres, but one was no dialogue, and I thought, this really fits this story because, especially during COVID when we were wearing masks, so much of what we communicate to people is nonverbal. That just kind of felt like that was natural. And then also, when you're shielded by a mask, like, yeah, it really kind of lent itself to what the genre was. So this film was originally made for that challenge. And it's just a really fun festival. They have a whole screening at like an AMC theater, and they give out awards and nominations. And we got nominated for a few different awards for leading actress, supporting actor, and then production design. And then we've screened at the Central Florida Film Festival in January. But this is the first time screening outside of Florida. And it's so exciting to be at Queens World Film Festival. I've had a couple of films there in the past that I've been a part of, that screened at Queens World Film Festival. So it's just really exciting to have this in a different location, back in New York, back from, my half roots, I guess I would say, and to be able to communicate this to a larger audience. I just think it's going to really resonate with people. Just seeing, the experience and the expression of what we went through. So.
No, absolutely. Thank you, firstly, for bringing your film to Queens and the Queens of Film Festival. I think,
Mhm.
here in New York also, everybody, like most people I meet, they have all had a COVID story. And eh, it's like disasters. What happened with 9/11, what happened with COVID. These things are going to take, I don't know how many centuries to really fully heal, because each one of us have had so many experiences. So thank you for adding to that healing journey. I want to
Of
ask you, what
course.
were the challenges that you faced? I'm sure while
Mhm.
the actual incident was happening, and then also while filming, what are some of the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Okay, so two parts. So the first one, like when the actual everything was going on with my father, I guess it was just, keeping the faith and belief that he was gonna pull through. I think there was a lot of times where, there were like ups and downs, and just really being resolute and keeping that faith and optimism that, he's gonna pull through. And of course the challenges, as I show in the film, of just not being able to be present. Eventually we were able to see him. He got moved out of the COVID wing once he got like the clearance, but in that initial phase, just not being able to be there physically was so hard, because you want to be able to just sit there, stand by, hold your loved one's hand and everything. For the filming, I would say locations were kind of the hardest. It's pretty difficult to just call up a hospital and say, hey, can we film there? Hospitals are hard to film at. But the Orlando Film Commission has a great locations resource. And so I found this one location, the Advent Health Nicholson Center in Celebration, Florida. And it's more of like a research lab, not really an actual hospital. And so our external hospital, the internal like lobby and hallways, we filmed there. And it was absolutely perfect. And then for the interior hospital rooms, there's this place called Studio Lot Orlando, and they have pre-made sets. So they have like a hospital room, they have like a jail cell, they have a bar, a classroom, all these different places. And I knew when I was writing the idea, I was like, okay, we're gonna definitely gonna film that there to get the hospital bed and all of that. So I had that half problem solved, but then the actual hospital, that took a lot more digging and like reaching out and communicating, but I was able to find it through the film commission. So
Oh,
yeah.
wonderful. Um,
Mhm.
I have a personal question. Um,
Mhm.
I lost my dad when I was 14,
Oh,
and it's been
very
hard.
sorry. Mhm.
It's been hard. And as father-daughter, you have a very, very tender bond, right? It's
Mhm.
hard to explain, but it's a very tender bond. And I know that probably at this moment when we are filming this and when it's gonna go out in the world, there are
Mhm.
maybe hundreds of people still in hospitals, still struggling with something, and there are still people hanging on to faith. Is there anything, because you've been with that ordeal for 45 days and more,
Mhm.
is there any message that you think you'd like to give to motivate those people?
I think it's have support, have the more support you have, like friends, family, people that are there to help you to help you cope. It's one thing to, take it on yourself, but you really, as many people as possible, and and don't be afraid to ask for support and people to listen to you or ask for advice. I felt like that was very helpful with that, because in my family we got through together, and like it was the first major crisis that we ever really, thankfully until that time, really as a family experienced, and we were there for each other. And I think that just the more support that you can have is crucial. Yeah.
Do you think, you said something very, very pertinent just now. Do you think that it's in times of tragedy or in times of, such problems, that even families tend to, dissolve all differences, everything, and sort of, come together. Did you feel that with your own family? And, sometimes somebody doesn't like the way you eat or dress or do things, but like it's those moments. Do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, definitely. All the little stuff doesn't matter when you're dealing with something so big and just being there. Yeah, you have to push stuff aside. And I think, my dad is such an amazing, wonderful person. He's like one of the best people in the whole world. He's so kind and caring and always there to give a helping hand. And it just felt like we wanted to give him what he gave us, so much love and support. So like for that, he rallied us all to just be there and just root for him and give him everything we could from afar. So
That's beautiful. All right, tell us, are you coming to the premiere, the New York premiere? Are we going to see you in person?
yes, I will be there and I'm very much
Oh,
looking
that's
forward to it. So yeah.
exciting. I'm thrilled. And are you calling some of your friends, family? Is there a shout out? Is there a message you want to give the audience? You want to invite people to your screening? Please.
Um, I guess, well, this is for, a big shout out to my family. This is for my family, this film, for my dad, my parents, and my siblings, my brothers, everyone, this movie is really for them. It's kind of a love letter of like what we went through and yes, everyone, come see the film and come see all the other films. I think this is an amazing, powerful block for people to experience. And I'm excited to see all the other films that are in it and the rest of the films of the festival. So come on out and be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. Um, your film is in the block called Survival, and I know we've already spoken about this, that you've really lived this. But
Mhm.
how do you feel that do you feel this was the right block for your film? What do you feel about being positioned in a survivor sort of series? What do you think about that?
It was absolutely perfect. When I heard the screening block name, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Because not only did my dad a survivor and survived, but our family survived the process as well. I mean, it's, such a crisis, such an ordeal. And I'm really excited to show people this and have people experience and watch the film. And yeah, I think it was absolutely fitting. Mm.
I think, this is a gift of Don Cato, who's the artistic director of the Queensborough Film Festival. I'm sure you've met him
Mhm.
before. And
Mhm.
Kata Cato, the executive director of the Queensborough Film
Mhm.
Festival. And I think they have this knack, which I haven't seen because my films have been to many festivals as well, but I think they have this knack to just find the exact defining word that
Mhm.
that just sort of, summarizes the field, the medicine that your film is trying to deliver. So yeah, kudos to the whole team. I will just like to repeat one more time. Please come to our screening. Our block is called Survival. It is on
Mhm.
25th of April, Thursday, 7 o'clock at Kaufman Astoria Studios, Zucker Theaters in Queens, New York. And we hope we get to see you there and say hello. Come say hello to us and also meet Kimberly. We'll make pictures, we'll have fun. Kimberly, is there anything as a closing message that you'd like to share, please?
No, I guess I mean people can find me online at Kimberly DiPersia. You can find me on all the social medias by my name and also my production company, All the Line Studio and Incubator as well. So, but I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm very excited to be a part of the Queens World Film
Thank
Festival.
you
So
so much.
thank you.
I'm so thrilled to have met you, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Yes, same,
Thank
same.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.